Hi everyone, this is part 2 of lesson 22, collisions. We left off on bubble 6. We had just finished going through each of the different collision blocks. And we just finished with collide. Right, so collide, again, just as a review, when the sprite collides with the target, the sprite ends up taking on the action that the target is doing. So here the target is moving to the left, so the sprite will also move to the left. I do want to show you one thing, just to show you, right? If the target is still, when the sprite collides with it, the sprite will also be still, right? So it takes on the action of the target. All right, I'm going to go ahead and switch back to blocks for the next couple of bubbles. Moving on to bubble 7. Oh, it's getting warm. Okay. All right, for bubble 7, we're going to go through all 4 activities. They are super quick. Basically, each activity is a collision type. So we just have to figure out which collision block to use. Okay, there are 4 types of collisions that we use in Game Lab: displace, collide, bounce, bounce off. These blocks will cause a certain type of interaction between the sprite and the target. Do this. Choose the best block to model the basketball's interaction with the floor. Hint, you can try different blocks out or read more about them in the Help and Tips tab. Here's the Help and Tips. Collision detection. Sprite interactions. Okay, we have our basketball and we want it to hit the wood and then go back up. So which block will make that reaction or that action? Again, if you're not sure, you can always try different ones. We can narrow down, maybe bounce or bounce off. In this case, it'll be bounce off, right? We want the basketball to bounce off the wood. So bounce off. Basketball, bounce off wood. Here we go. Basketball, bounce off wood. And there it goes. Okay, moving on to the next one. Activity B, collision types. B, make the arrow stop when it hits the apple. Okay. Choose the best block to make the arrow stop when it reaches the apple. All right, we want the apple standing still. When the arrow touches the apple, we want the arrow to take on the same action as the apple. All right, so which one of these is going to make the arrow stop when it touches the apple? You can also do process of elimination, right? Bounce, you know that they switch what they're doing. Bounce off, that would make the arrow bounce off the apple. Displace, that would make the arrow push the apple. Collide is our last option. So collide, when the arrow collides with the arrow will take on the same velocity as the apple, which is 0. So it'll stop. There we go. Finish. Continue. Bubble 5. Oh, I don't know if you can hear my laptop. The fan is going off. Bubble 5. There are 4 types of collisions that we use in Game Lab: displace, collide, bounce, and bounce off. Okay, choose the best block to make the gray minecart stop and push the second cart. So basically, here's what we got going on. The gray one is moving, and the blue one, this is supposed to be blue. I mean, it's kind of blue, but it still looks gray. So we want them to switch velocities. So the gray should stop and then the blue should move. Which one of these blocks makes the sprite and target switch velocities? Bounce. Yeah, bounce. All right. So you can, again, if you're not sure, you can always test the 4 different blocks until you get the correct one. All right. So we want gray cart to push the second cart. So let's just see gray, cart, bounce, blue cart. There it goes. right? So the gray cart was moving, the blue cart was stationary. Once they touch, then they switch velocities. So now the gray cart is stationary and the blue cart is moving. And the last one, that leaves us with one more collision type, which is the displaced block, right? When you want one sprite to push the other and they're going at the same speed, right? One isn't like bouncing off the other or anything, then that would be displace, okay? So let's go ahead and grab the displace block, adding it to our draw loop. And the kid is displacing the suitcase, right? The kid is doing the one that's pushing. The kid is pushing the suitcase. Kid displace suitcase. There it goes. Go ahead and click finish. And the last bubble I'm going over today is bubble 8. Bubble 8 will be graded, but I'll go over the instructions and get you started, and then it'll be up to you to finish. Sprite interactions. You have now seen 4 different types of sprite interactions, right? Bounce, bounce off, collide, displace. You'll need all of them. You need them all for this challenge. For each pair of animals, choose the sprite interaction that matches the target image on the right. Okay, I will start with the first one, and then you'll have to complete the other 3. Okay, so for the first one, let's take a look at what's happening. What is happening with the first 2? The giraffe and the parrot. Bounce. Yeah, they're bouncing, right? They're switching directions. So that's going to be bounce. So I need bounce. I'm going to put it right in here. And that's going to be for my giraffe and parrot. Make sure you spell everything. Everything's lowercase. Giraffe, parrot. Okay. So giraffe, parrot. Giraffe, bounce, parrot. So they should switch. Oop, there we go. Yay! So we've got one down. And now your task is going to be to get these other 3 to move in the same direction. So think about what's happening with the second set of animals, the hippo and elephant. And then what's happening with the rabbit and monkey. I will tell you the 2 middle ones, there are 2 ways to do both of them. So 2 of the blocks are very similar, and you could use one of the 2 blocks to do this. Then we have the last one. What's happening with the last one? Snake and pig. Ooh, right. So that gives you, I think the last one might be a little easier to do first. It's what's happening there. Remember, your options are now bounce off, collide, displace, right? Displace, one is pushing the other at the same speed. Collide, the sprite ends up doing the same thing that the target is doing. Bounce off, the sprite bounces off of the target, right? So which one of these is bouncing off? That gives you a hint. And then the other 2 are going to have to be displace or collide, right? So you will need all 4 of these. We'll need all 4 of these. I'm just dropping them in here, but it's going to be your job to finish the rest of these, okay? So the second set is hippo and elephant. Then we have rabbit and monkey, and then snake and pig. So figure out which block goes with which pair of animals. Try the different names, move them around. Right, you can test it out, and if it doesn't work, change it up, right? Super easy to just type the different names. And that's it, right? Just finish this up. Make sure your image looks like the image in the instructions. Make sure that the animals are going in the correct direction and they're interacting the same way. And then you're done with lesson 22. All right, just like always, if you have any questions, send me a message on Schoology, let me know in class, in the Zoom chat, whatever it might be. I hope this helps, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye, everyone.